Hello YouTube and welcome back to Allie's Wonderland Creations. I am Alice Seraphin and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Welcome to my channel. So I'm still struggling a bit here with my arm, but I'm working on the paper pumpkin. So just a second. Do not go trying to spray that. It doesn't spray far enough. My grandson's trying to kill a wasp nest and the wasp spray.
One wasp nest, one wasp.
Don't. Just shut the door and it's going to be fine. Sorry, everybody. So anyways, okay, he's going to go get bit. That's his prerogative. Can't do anything about that. So this is Paper Pumpkin Alternative video number 11, May 2023's Exploring in Color. Gotta laugh. Okay. If he's going to get stung, he's going to get stung, right? You guys ready to see this card? It is absolutely beautiful. I really just let the card base paper that is working as DSP paper speak for itself on this card. Very simple card to do. It might look more difficult than it is, but I couldn't even put anything where I stamped because I just wanted it to it just doesn't need it. I think it's a very pretty little card. So I'm going to go over what we're going to need. Here is the envelope. I know there's a boot somewhere around here, but I think it's under my desk somewhere and I can't get to it. So we're going to have to do without my boot, but this is our card. And these are the pearlized enamel effects. I'm going to start using those a lot more. So I'm going to set this aside and show you what you're going to need. So I'm using a card base from the add-on, this particular one. So that's what we're going to need. You are going to need a card base that is cut 5.5 by 11. Usually when you cut by the 11, it's at 4 1/4, but this time it's 5.5 by 11. I'm going to score that with you. For the inside piece right here, this is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, because the inside piece for the other one, let me show you, just was a little not quite right. Whoops, I don't want those wet little dots getting messed up here. So, and then you are going to need 2 pieces of, and we're using copper clay card base, 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 4, and then you're going to need 1 additional piece that is 2 by 4. And we are going to score our card base together and cut our card base that we're using as DSP together also. So I'm going to stick all of these here on my little clip. Right, there we go. And I am going to bring in my trimmer / scoring tool. I absolutely love this. So I do need to open, give me a second. My left arm is not quite working with it. Here we go. We're going to score. We are going to start scoring. Let me scoot this down at 1 3/4. I'm looking at my instructions. So I want to get that right on the 3/4. So score 1 3/4, 3 1/2. Just scooch it on down there. 3 1/2, and then let me bring it this way. 7 1/2. Here we go. 7 1/2, and then 9 1/4. You guys know I like to go over it like 3 times, steady, even pressure. Don't force it down there because it can tear paper. So we might need, well, we're going to need something again in a minute, but now we're going to fold this. So I'm going to tell you, same thing, just go ahead and fold whichever direction, and then we'll get it into its thing. So I like to fold away from me, just kind of how I am, and then we'll fold it in its correct position once we get all these nicely pressed over. So now you see we have it like this. Well, this needs to come in and this flap here needs to come out. So go ahead and do that. Give it a crease. this one in, that one out. And you'll see we have this about 1/2 inch gap here. Don't worry about that because you are not going to see it. This is our card base. This is how it's going to open and close. We are going to set this aside, and now we are going to work on our card base. So there's that. So we are using our brown envelope here as our envelope. I'm going to clip that here too because we're going to stamp on that at the end. So now we're going to gently just fold that over and we're going to cut it apart. If I can find the guillotine down here. So here we go. We're going to just fold it like so. This is the start of how we're going to cut this apart. So this piece here is going in my supplies. Okay, so let me see. Cut 2, cut 1. We did that cut front of card base. It says down to 3 7/8. So this is the front of our card base. We need to cut this down to 3 7/8, which is right here. But I'd like to cut a little bit off of each end. First thing I'm going to do is turn it this way, and it's at 4 1/4. I'm going to come to just taking off 8/8 of an inch. Now I'm going to take off a 1/16. Now I'm going to turn it around, and I want it to be at 3 7/8, which is right here. So I am going to start at 4 and cut. Then I'm going to move it to the 7/8, 3 7/8 and cut. And that has it 3 7/8, which is what I need. And I have these 4 little slivers that can go in the recycle bin. Next, we need it to come down to 5 3/8. And there's no 5 3/8 on this tool. So that means we have to bring in the big one. So now we're going to use that dark blade. This one, the lighter blade, is the scoring blade. This is our cutting blade. So 5 3/8. So there's 1, 2, this is 3/8 here. And I am going to take it off of the bottom. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. You know what? We're going to take, let's see, it's 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and take 1/4 of an inch off of the bottom. Nope, don't want to do that. We want 3/8. So I'm going to take a 1/16 off here. I'm going to turn it around because I want 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to take a 1/16 of an inch off of the top. Now my card base, this card front of the card, right, that we cut apart, is going to measure 3 7/8, which it does, by 5 3/8, which it does. So now we're going to go back to my guillotine, as using the guillotine really does help save on my trimmer blades, which I need all the help I can get. And we are going to start our cutting from the bottom. That's how I designed the card. We're going to go with it. So we're going to start from the bottom of the front of this card base. We're going to start at 1 5/8. So here's 1. There's 1/8, 2, 3, 4, and 5/8. This is our first cut. So that's for the bottom of the card. We're going to move this. Our next cut is 1 7/8, and it's already by 3 7/8. So now we need to do 7/8, which we can start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is for the center of our card. There we go. That's the center. This is the top. So we need this to be at 1 5/8. So we're going to go to the 1 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you wonder why I count for you, is because it took me years to figure out where the 5/8 mark was. Okay. So we have this little strip here, which we are not using. That's going to go in the recycle bin. And we have our pieces. So we have our bottom, our middle, and our top. Now we're going to stamp right here. Let me grab my Stamp and Pierce mat. And we are going to stamp in the copper clay. Let me get out. There's that one. What else did I use? I used Happy Birthday, It's an Adventure, and the compass because I can't find the boot. So we're going to do all of our stamping since we're going to start. So I'm going to open up the copper clay and we're going to stamp right here on the blue. Hopefully straight, or at least somewhat. So I'm going to turn it this way, trying to do it in camera, which might let me scoot it down a bit with one arm that does not. All right, there we go. We're going for it. Let's see. Yes, I will take that every day. So I'm going to give it a quick clean here on my chamois. That one's done. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to bring in our envelope. And our envelope here, we're going to stamp that compass. We're going to stamp it in copper clay on copper clay. So we're going to go right here and right down here. But we're not done with the compass. We're going to set that aside. And we are going to bring in, not those, our piece for the inside. So I want to stamp my compass right here. If you're keeping track, that's a total of 3 of them. So now we're done with that one. I'm going to set that aside. Now comes the fun part. We're going to do the Cheers to Another Adventure. And I'm hoping, it's really hard when you can't bend your arm here. Okay, Cheers to Another Adventure right there. That looks really good. And then Happy Birthday. Right underneath it. Stop moving, would you? Let's see. All right. Beautiful. I think I did a pretty dang good job there. So all of this is all done now. So this is for the inside of our card base. And we're going to go ahead and get to the gluing. Good stuff. Where is the glue, though, is the question. Okay. So, this piece should fit nicely now, better than my sample. Oh, and it does. It does. So much better. So it needs a little wiggle room. That's okay. So there we have it. Now we're going to work on bringing in those pieces. We have a piece that's 1 7/8 by 3 7/8 and 2 pieces that are 1 5/8 by 3 7/8. We're going to start on the left hand side. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to place my 1 7/8 piece here, and then I'm going to add glue right to where I'm going to put it, just making a square, a rectangle. Okay, now I'm going to bring it this way, and I want it to line up, so I'm going to fold it over like so and scooch it using this. Hear that? I'm making sure it's all the way flat. Then I'm going to turn it this way and do the same, push it so it should be nicely done. Now we're going to repeat that here on the bottom. So I'm going to put the strip I'm gluing there to show me where to put my glue. Okay, let me pick this up. I'm going to fold it up like this, holding it together. Just getting it in the rough estimate. I'm going to turn it this way, and that is going to line it up perfectly. Now you're going to see we have our gap here. So I'm going to line this up. It's going to fit snugly in there. I absolutely love that it's nice and snug. So I'm going to add my glue to that. And then I'm going to open this panel up. Oops, maybe not. Nope, fold that back down. Sorry, guys, because we want that to be nice and snug between those. Once you get it in rough estimate place, I bring it up, tap it, hold it, make sure it's nicely done. And there you can see is the opening of our card. Really, really cool. The original design of this was by Lisa Crucio. And I hope I've got her last name right. Anyways, I made some changes as far as these measurements. I changed, I believe it's the center panel piece. And then I've done ones where you had a focal point added on top of that. But this card, you just don't need it. If you have DSP as gorgeous as this with a scenery like this one, you really don't need to add that center focal point. I don't think it's necessary. Now on my sample, I put it up on dimensionals, but I struggled with my arm getting it where I want. So this one, I'm just going to glue down with glue straight down. So I'm going to start on the bottom, as it's going to give me the wiggle room that I want. And really we're leaving that 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Now I'm going to turn it around here and move that piece out. We're going to glue down the top. And I just love this card. I really do. I think it, oops, let's get it on correctly as I have it upside down. So fold it down. All right. Just get that 1/8 of an inch. You pull that apart, making, yeah, this is getting glued down much better than the other one. The dimensionals I struggled with. So next is our center panel. All right. And I'm going to, as it's the same color on color card base, it can be a little difficult to see. But I do want it straight. And then it just locks in place, and it is so gorgeous. So we need to do a few things. We're going to add a few of these pearlized enamel effects, but we need the Wink Estella because we need to do the water. I didn't do this on my sample, but I will. So we want to do the water. And we want to be careful not to go into our ink because it is water-based and it will smear. But I'm going to just highlight some of those clouds. And I don't think I'm going to do anything else. I just want the water and a little bit of shimmer on the clouds. And then I'm going to take these pearlized dots. I'm going to start it off to the side just to make sure it's got some in the tip. And I am going to do 3 right here. So I'm going to start in roughly the center. There's 1. Then I'm going to go to the side of it. There's 2. And to the side of the other, that gives me 3. Now I want 5 down here. So I'm going to start roughly like right here. There's 1. And then I'm going to go way over here, 2. And way over here is 3. Come on. And 4. And 5. And that's all she wrote for this card. The paper is what says it all, and you can see that gorgeous, gorgeous shimmer from the water and in the clouds. It's absolutely just beautiful. So here we go. So this is our envelope, very simple envelope. Beautiful on the inside. This would be something I could give my daughter, though she likes mermaids and plants, or my husband whose birthday's coming up in September. So, and this is my sample, and you can see this is how she opens up. So I hope you guys like this little version of an alternative for this month's paper pumpkin kit. If you did, would you let me know, as I live for the comments, guys. I love the comments. I love reading them. I wish I could have texted more, but with my arm the way it is, I just couldn't to respond. But I do appreciate all of you out there who are subscribing to my channel, because it is so amazing to me. It really, really is. And it's heartwarming, it's touching. I love connecting with those of you out there who love to do the same thing I like to do. And I really hope that comes across, because that is what this channel is all about. And I really appreciate each and every one of you who watch. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And please come back and visit me in my wonderland. Bye-bye now.